What's up, guys? We're heading down to the Ferrari right now. Today's the day I'm going to take apart the headlight. Right now the headlight is in Rosso Corsa Red, the right headlight, and we obviously got to take that apart, paint that silver. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to see what the Ferrari looks like right now. I don't know if they had a chance to get to it since my last video. Obviously I was saying that we're a little bit behind schedule. The shop has been getting busy. They've been working on these other projects, which is 100% fine. So today we're going to see kind of where the status is. The plan was to have the car ready for paint by the 17th, which is next Wednesday. I don't know if we're still on course for that deadline, but we're going to find out here in just a few minutes. But today we're going to take apart the headlight kind of in a unique way. Saw a couple of videos of people who are using a box and an industrial heat gun, basically like an overpowered hair dryer, as opposed to the conventional way of using an oven. Now, there's nothing wrong with using the oven, except for there's a lot of horror stories. If you're not careful and paying attention to what you're doing, you could melt parts, you could do this, you could do that, warping and all this other stuff. And I've taken apart a headlight on 2 occasions using an oven, so I'm not very experienced at all, except for those 2 instances, but definitely have not done the heat gun route. All works the same. I'm sure it's going to be just fine. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to shoot a video on how to do that. Hopefully, knock on wood, we're successful, because, you know, to replace this headlight, even on the used market, and in my case it was used and slightly damaged, those headlights run $800 to $1,200. You know, if you get them in good condition, they're $1,500, and to find the exact color, you know, you might have to pay top dollar. You know, you're kind of at the mercy of what's available on the market. And currently, right now, you know, I keep looking from time to time, because for me, of course, it'd be just much easier to buy a headlight that's color matching. But I was able to get this current headlight for a steal, granted used and damaged, but nothing that's going to stop the headlight from functioning properly and being a good headlight for me anyway. But you know, of course, if I were to, you know, strike gold and find a headlight that's matching color, good condition, good price, I would rather just pay to get that headlight and then resell my headlight, particularly because my headlight's a Rosso Corsa Red, which would probably be the fastest selling color that you could have. So it would work out in my favor, I think, if I were able to find a good headlight in Nurbergring Silver. So far that's not been the case. I find them either very good condition or even brand new, and those are upwards of $2,000. At that price, I would rather just stick with my headlight, take it apart and paint it. So I don't know, that's what we're working on today anyway. You know, it's too late at this point. We got to get the car painted, so provided I don't damage this headlight even more and really screw the pooch on this, I think we're gonna end up okay. I'll probably be into this headlight for less than $1,000 all said and done, and to me that's a win. So we're going to fast forward now to the shop, and we're going to get started. First things first, you're going to want to take all the pieces off the current headlight. Now, I know that goes without saying. However, the thing that's worth mentioning here is you want to make sure that you're being very, very careful. Even though it looks like I'm not being very careful at this moment, you want to be careful taking these pieces off, because they are very fragile. I'm telling you, they are very, very fragile. Things break very easily on this headlight, and if you do break something, the only thing to do is to purchase another headlight. Parts are not made aftermarket for this, and I'm not talking about the brackets, but I mean the plastic pieces that are physically attached to the headlight. Now, I do know of somebody who's on Ferrari Chat who's looking at creating aftermarket pieces, because they're not available on the open market or even in the aftermarket. So when he's ready, I'm sure an announcement will be made. I don't know that he's there yet, but there is something being done on Ferrari Chat, so keep your eyes open there. But again, you want to be very careful as you're taking apart your headlight, because once it breaks, that's it. It's game over. The hope is these pieces are going to be just fine to get baked. You know, again, we're going to be doing this with an industrial heat gun, so it's not going to get hot enough, I don't think, to damage anything. Of course, if this plastic can withstand it, so can this. My only fear is this thing is on there tight, so I'm wondering if when heat gets into here, and this is metal back here, that starts to expand maybe and puts pressure. I'm not sure, but I don't think I could take, I mean, I can untorque these, But you know, the same would go for this thing in here. I don't know, and this won't come out that way. Even though there's Torx down in there, the physical side of this won't make it through this initial housing. So I feel like it's probably safe to go from here. Here is the bead of rubber seal that we got to heat up to take this part out. So this is the box we're going to do it in, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, you can see fashioned a little hole down there. Got the heat gun, this little board so it's just not blowing directly on the headlight. Hopefully spread the heat around almost like a convectional oven. And we're going to start heating this up, monitor the temperature. Probably going to take 18 to 20 minutes or so, I'm guessing, depending on the heat gun, I suppose. And we'll see how this, we'll see if we can get this done. Alright, at this point, 20 to 25 minutes have passed. And I've been checking it periodically to make sure that, one, I didn't melt anything, as this is our first go around with this, but also to make sure that the butyl, the factory bead here, was malleable enough for me to go in there and pry it apart. The way I tested it is, you can see this prying tool that I have. I kind of just poked at it, see if I could separate it. I could see some separation, so I know it was warm enough at least for me to get in there and get started. Now I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. But because of the size of the headlight and because I was taking my time, especially in the beginning as I was getting started, it actually went into the box 2 or 3 more times for about 5 minutes. Just as the butyl was drying, I wanted to make sure it stayed warm. So I put it back in there and it allowed me to keep going. Once I made a portion of the headlight separated, I went in there with a razor blade and I was kind of cutting the butyl as I was separating and going along. That helped the process significantly. Alright, again, you got to pull these pieces off as well. So this is the rest of the back of the headlight housing. Again, be very careful as you're taking these pieces off. Okay, Corey, it's your 10 seconds of fame. We have the headlight prepped and it's ready for Nurbergring Silver. Okay, this next part is very important. Remember to remove as much of the old butyl as possible from all of the pieces you removed. And then if you use any type of adhesive, glue, or any of that gunk remover, you have to make sure you properly clean all the pieces before you start to set the new pieces in place. So here we have our butyl. It's a Mortamito. I bought on Amazon. I think it was $20. And we're going to go ahead and set that inside of the groove here around the headlight housing. We're going to set the lens, and we'll show you step by step everything we did to put the headlight back together. Okay, here we have the headlight and the lens going into the box first. Right now, I've already heated it up for about 25 minutes here. I'm pressing the lens into the butyl, seating it kind of into the headlight where that lip kind of meets the groove. I'm making sure that my fittings are right while the butyl's still hot. I can kind of make minor adjustments as we move around the headlight. And a little bit here, I'm going to get the entire headlight pressed in. You can see the next part, the rear of the headlight housing off to the left there. That's going to go into the box next. It's going to be heated by itself. The butyl will get hot, and I'll press it onto the back of the headlight in just a moment. That's a pretty good seal. Alright, I want to point out here this little plastic lens that goes in there. You see it has 3 little notches on it that kind of sit in place here in the back of the headlight. So you want to make sure that's lined up accurately before you place this last piece here. Because once that butyl goes in there, you're going to have to go through the whole heating process to remove that back piece. So we make sure it's sat right. We got the butyl in there correctly. There's a little notch on the back of that black piece to let you know what is right side up. And we're going to go ahead and carefully set this in there. And just like that, it's in place. I found that using a painter stick to kind of get in there, because you're battling against the lip of the headlight. So I'm just using kind of that piece to get in there, but my hands can't get in, and make sure that that black piece there is seated up against the headlight as best as possible. And we're making sure that we're pushing the butyl out so we know that we have a good seal. We don't want moisture getting to the headlight. So everything looks good to me. I would say that we've got a successful headlight. Alright, that's going to do it here. At this point, the headlight is done. You want to let it sit for 30 minutes before you do anything with it. Hope you really appreciated this walkthrough. We did this to help others. You know, fortunately for me, I had a little bit of help. We have friends on Ferrari Chat, as well as a little bit of YouTubing, but I've not seen anything done this way, a video walkthrough. But I also did some picture and step-by-step walkthroughs available on my Instagram at addicted2_HP, just like our YouTube channel. You can find more information there, as well as some information on where you can find info where I found additional assistance and guided walkthroughs that help me along with the process. Really appreciate you watching, and until next time.